Hey, what's going on, man? Coach Tyler here with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and I got a brand new episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole Daily Show for you. But before we get into it, man, I've got to thank you guys. I am the #2 rated softball podcast in all of the softball land. It's pretty cool to be mentioned up there with The Cleats Come Off and 7 Innings and some of the other podcasts that are out there. So it's an honor to be mentioned up there, but to be ranked #2 is pretty daggone special. So I have to thank you guys for not only listening, but sharing and liking and commenting and just interacting with the podcast. So kudos to you guys. Thank you guys so much. Before we get into this episode, I do want to remind you about our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@foulpole to foulpole. We're always putting out cool stuff over there, whether it's the video version of podcasts, we're looking at different highlights, or we're breaking down some softball drills. There's always something for everybody over there. So make sure you go check that out. And when you do, hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on so you won't miss another update. All right. As we get into today's episode, I kind of want to talk a little bit about recruiting. It's that time of year where everything kind of slows down because we have the spring season is upon us. We're getting into high school ball. And as well, the colleges are getting into their spring season too. So everything kind of slows down. There's not a whole lot of communication. Camps are starting to slow up because, let's face it, these teams play their seasons too. It's not just about recruiting for them. So these coaches are kind of slowing everything down to focus on their team. So during that time is a really good time for you to focus on your recruiting as well. The small stuff that really does add up at the end of your journey. So at the end of your journey, we're looking at, getting committed and actually getting signed with our team. And it could take 6 months. It could take 3 years. It really just depends on it. So I wanted to give you my 5 do's and my 5 don'ts as far as recruiting. So my top 5 do's are going to be emails, camps, social media, make it hard on yourself, and make sure you're communicating. So let's break this down a little bit. The best way to communicate with a coach right now, if you haven't been identified or if you haven't committed or you haven't signed yet, is to continue shooting out those emails. You may or may not get a response from them, but they are getting your emails. At one point, they're going to be able to check that out and be able to break it down and look at it. So make sure your emails are looking sharp. You got a good subject line on there so they know exactly who they're talking to or who they're getting emails from. And then break it down for them. Give them some video clips. Tell them why you're sending them an email. And also give them that profile sheet. But make sure these emails are catered to them and their school. Don't send out a big mass email like a copy and paste to all these schools because you got different campus sizes. You've got different academic programs. There's a lot of different little nuances between the schools. So make sure you're paying close attention to that. Also, my #2 is go to camps, man. This time of year, it's kind of tough to go to a camp, but there are still some that are happening right now. But make sure you're getting to camps. And don't just go to a camp to go to a camp. Go to a camp that fits your needs. Okay? Because if you're just going for a practice, eventually you're going to see, man, that is an expensive practice. But go to camps at recruitable options. And what I mean by that is figure out if that school is even in your realm. Is it close enough that you're going to go there and be that far away from mom and daddy? Do they have your academic programs? Is it a school that you can see living at? Is it a school that you can see attending? So before you ever decide to go to a camp, go to that campus. Maybe go watch a game. Maybe go do a campus tour or do a self-guided tour. And then be like, hey, you know what? This could be a recruitable option. I do want to go to a camp here because I do want to see what this softball is all about here at this school. Okay. The next thing is make sure you're following these schools on social media so you can stay up to date with what they're doing. It's always cool to send them an email after you see something that they post. If they're posting something on their social media that they're happy about or they're proud of or they want some attention on, give them that attention. You're going to stand out above your peers. Okay. So follow them on social media and make sure you're kind of in tune with what they're doing and what they've got going on. The #4 thing is make it hard on yourself academically. Man, having a 4.0 is awesome. But if you're just taking the standard general classes and you're getting a 4.0, that's not the same as taking some of these accelerated classes, taking some of these junior college classes or honors or GP, however you guys define those elevated classes. Try to take those classes, try to get in there and then do well in those classes. I recently talked to a coach at a high academic school in D3. It's up there. And a 3.75 GPA, taking nothing but honors and GP and accelerated classes, is better than a 4.0 taking basic standard classes, okay? So make it hard on yourself. They want to see you struggle a little bit with your academics because they know that level that you're taking is tough. It's college prep classes. It's tough stuff. So show that, hey, you know what? I didn't just coast when I was in high school. I did challenge myself so I could prepare myself for that next level, not only of academics, but athletics and academics together, being able to put those two together and manage your time wisely, okay? So that's my top 5 do's. Making sure you're emailing, getting to the right camps, you're active on social media in a way that you're paying attention to what they're doing, you're making it hard on yourself in the classroom, and then the last one's going to be communicate. Make sure you're communicating with your coaches, your high school coaches, your guidance counselors, your academic counselors. Making sure you're communicating with the administration, with whatever school you're trying to get to. Find out exactly what you need to do to get in there. Also, make it easier on yourself money-wise of trying to get different grants and different scholarships. See if there's some academic money out there. There's a lot of different ways that you can pay for your schooling. You don't have to come out with a whole bunch of debt, but make sure you're communicating. Don't just assume that you know all the answers, okay? Find out for sure that these are solid answers to my questions that I have, all right? So my top 5, we're going to email, we're going to go to camp, we're going to be active on social media, we're going to be tough on ourselves in the classroom, and we're always going to be communicating no matter what. All right, so the top 5 don'ts. Man, these are a little bit tougher, okay? Number 1 for me is don't wait. I know people say you've got time, you got time, you got time. You don't have time. You need to be in that process as soon as you start thinking about going to school because it's going to be time past. So once it hits your brain, once you get into it and you start having conversations not only with yourself, but maybe with your parents or your guardians or whoever, start your process. And it's as easy as looking at what schools are in the area that you would like to go. So just start with maybe a 50-mile radius. Start with a 150-mile radius or a 200-mile radius of where you think you want to live. Start with that. Look at the schools. It's going to take some time to go through all the schools and all the academic programs that they have. Okay? Don't overexpose yourself. Number 2, don't overexpose yourself. Make sure your social media is cleaned up and it looks nice. You don't have to be active on social media with your softball page and let it just be your professional page. Okay? You don't have to post all the time. Only post pertinent things like your workout videos, maybe your game schedule, or if you went to a camp. Just don't put too much stuff on there to where they have to search through it to try to find out where's an athletic video of you. Okay. If you're putting out TikToks all the time of you dancing and stuff like that, and a coach tries to find something to see, how good you are, they're going to be like, you know what? There's just too much clutter on here. Okay. Number 3 is don't lie. Make sure whatever you're doing, you're honest about it. Your GPA, the worst thing you can lie about is that daggone GPA, okay? If you put out there that you're a 4.0 and you're actually like a 2.5 and you're taking these, not so great classes and stuff like that, it's going to come out at the most inopportune time. You could have that offer. You could have like, hey, man, we're just waiting on admissions to get you in and get through and stuff. And then all of a sudden, you don't even qualify to go to the school because your GPA isn't there. So make sure not only are you honest with yourself, you're honest with the coaches, you're honest with the admissions department. You've got to be above reproach. Okay. At the end of the day, make sure you're honest. And number 4, man, don't try to keep up with the Joneses, what somebody else is doing. This is your race. This is your journey. This is who you are. So just because somebody's going to this camp or that camp, or somebody is getting committed over here and you're still sitting there waiting, it doesn't make a hill of beans. Okay. Quit trying to keep up with what you see on social media. Social media is nothing but a positive thing when it comes to that softball stuff. They're only going to show you the good stuff. They're not going to show you the grind that they're going through. They're not going to show you that they didn't get an email today, or they didn't get a letter, or they didn't get an offer. They're always going to show you that they did, or they're always going to show you what camps they're going to. They want to make you think they're better than they are. So don't try to keep up with them. And my number 5, man, don't worry. Keep the worrying to a minimum. It's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. whatever camp, whatever communication, whatever coach you have, it's going to happen. Now you can kind of push the process along a little bit faster. But if you're not getting a whole bunch of communication, take that as a sign and change up what you're doing. But don't worry, your time is coming. You're going to get to the right camp. You're going to write that perfect email. You're going to get that correspondence. You're going to be at that tournament where some coach sees you and you stand out. Okay? So my top 5 don'ts is don't wait. Don't wait when you could be actively doing something. Don't overexpose yourself. Don't put too much out there to where you make yourself look bad, because the more footage you have of yourself out there, it's more for them to look and critique, right? If I can cross you off my list before I ever see you, it makes it easier on me. Number 3, don't lie. Be honest. Don't get to somewhere and then you're not who you are. Don't lie on that resume. Y'all have seen those memes and stuff where you're not qualified for the job because you lied on your resume. Number 4, quit trying to keep up with the Joneses. Do your thing. Don't worry about what Susie's doing down the street. And number 5, most of all, probably the most important, man, don't worry. Run your race. Stop worrying. It's going to happen when it's ready to happen, okay? All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed my top 5 do's and my top 5 don'ts. If you like this type of stuff, man, please share it with a friend. And when you do, you tell them you love them.